Hello everyone, Tina Spalding Trance Channel here. I have been guided to do a video for you today. Of course, tomorrow is Easter Sunday. It doesn't feel like it around here because it's so quiet, and we're very busy as a resort town in Easter, so it's a little Stephen Kingish out there at the moment. Anyway, I thought I would bring Jesus through and let him speak to what's going on and this weekend. Thanks for joining us today. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. And of course, this Easter weekend is often heralding the beginning of your spring and summer fun traveling, visiting family kind of season. So what you are going to be experiencing now is a feeling of loss. This is the first big holiday that has come up since you have been in quarantine. For most of you in the West, in China, they had to deal with missing their New Year. And so we want you to understand that as you go through a reconditioning process, because that's what you are being put through right now, you are having things that you normally can choose taken away from you. And the Easter holiday is a very, very big deal to a lot of people in the world. Now, most people who are not religious, it's more about chocolates and perhaps going on their first camping trip. But for Christians, it is a very, very intense time of prayer and meditation. And of course, that part of it, prayer and meditation, can continue. But the big family dinners and the trips to visit aunties and uncles or whatever you normally do are going to be thwarted. So what we want to remind you all of as you are going through this first big holiday weekend without being able to do what you normally do, we would like you to pay attention to any feelings of sadness or loss or unstableness that you are experiencing. All that is happening is that a deeply entrenched behavior is not being allowed to happen. So it's very much like somebody who's used to having a particular addiction to a particular substance or behavior. When they go through their withdrawal, your rehab communities give you 28 days. 28 days is enough for you to go through withdrawal, enough for you to get frustrated, get angry, get sad, get depressed, and start to come back to some semblance of equilibrium. So many of you will be triggered by this weekend not being what you are used to. And it's very important for you to look at this the correct way. The habits of many of you have been deeply programmed by the powers that be. And those habits force you into routines that do not necessarily benefit you over time. So what you are going to encounter this year over the next few months is not being able to do what you normally do. And we want you to begin to see this as a breaking free of conditioning. But to understand the feelings and emotions that you're going to go through, you must understand that you have been programmed to do certain things over and over and over again, whether it's Easter or July 4th or Veterans Day or Memorial Day or Christmas. These holidays are deeply programmed methods of consumption. So if you look at the economy, for example, Easter is a lot of chocolate being sold, a lot of flowers being sold, a lot of religious paraphernalia being sold. So many of these holidays were promoted to get you to spend money to consume. And you will notice over time that holidays that did not used to be consumptive holidays have now become consumptive holidays. So for example, Halloween, which used to just be a few fireworks and some dark makeup, has now become one of the biggest product selling holidays in the Western world. So this consumerism is deeply entrenched in some of these traditions. So if you're used to buying things for people as a way of showing love, you are going to feel a bit lost as you are restricted from that behavior. If you indulge a lot in a lot of extra eating and a lot of extra drinking, and you're not able to do that, then you're going to feel a sense of loss. But what we want you to understand is, if you look at it the right way, you are actually gaining back your mental freedom, the freedom of mind. And at this stage of the quarantine, it's important for us to begin to speak to you about freedom of body and freedom of mind. Most of you in this audience have lost some of your freedom of body, which is you can go around and do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whomever you like, at whatever time you like. So that is freedom of body. It is also freedom of mind, in the sense your mind dictates what it wants you to do for whatever reason. But what's happening now is that you have no freedom of body. It means that if some people do, they can still go out and go for a walk. Some people cannot. They are locked inside. Now, those beings have lost freedom of body, but you have never lost freedom of mind. You are always free to think what you wish, to believe what you wish, and to invest your mental energy in what you wish. And so what's happening to many around the planet is a feeling of loss, a feeling of frustration. It's starting to build. So we're putting this video out for you. If you are beginning to feel anxious, if you are beginning to feel a deep sense of loss or depression starting, what we want you to understand is that you are going through the same process that an addict will go through when they go to rehab. And you would not expect an addict to be happy on day 14 of their rehab stint. So we want you to understand that these feelings are normal. These are panic feelings because of the deep entrenchment and habitual behavior that you have been engaged in throughout your society. Everybody does the same thing on this weekend. Everybody does the same thing on the long weekend in May. Everybody does the same thing in America on July 4th. You have been programmed, and if you are taking advantage of this sequestered time, this retreat time, you are breaking free from some of those programs, and that is how we would like you to look at this weekend. As the big weekend in the Christian church, it is a pivotal time to flex your freedom wings. And by that, what we mean is, do not do rote things anymore. Do not go back to the tried and true, the old familiar. The ascension process that your planet is in has to require profound change within the masses who are engaged in 3D and lower frequency activities. And those would be habitual things, teachings that are not embodied but are just repeated by rote, mass social prerequisites that are not benefiting you. And what we would like you to look at is, yes, there are some prices being paid for this, but you were in fact paying a heavy price for the uncontrolled capitalism and consumerism on your planet. The massive fires that you've witnessed in the last few years, not all of them were natural, some of them were intentional, but the fact that they wrought so much damage to the flora and fauna of certain areas is indeed a sad thing to witness. The dying of coral reefs, the polluting of rivers, all of these sorts of things. So those things are slowing down. They're not totally stopped, but they are slowing down. And they are beginning to bring back the natural environment to a much more robust state. If you use this retreat time to process all of the feelings that you have coming up, the regrets you have about your life, the things you wish you'd done that you hadn't, the lost loves that you wish you'd called, perhaps now you will call them when you realize that it was something that was important to you, but you didn't know it was important to you because you didn't stop ever to feel it. So feel the feelings. Do not harm yourself or anyone else. Do not attack yourself or anyone else. But allow the feelings to come up, because the feelings are going to reveal some things to you that you needed to see. And those things that you needed to see are what you need to attend to be in this ascension process with your planet. The underlying spiritual message of this time is transform yourself. Do it voluntarily by acknowledging what you have not done in your life that you would like to have done, acknowledging your shortcomings, acknowledging where perhaps you've taken advantage of people or you have been misusing your amazing abilities. Get brutally honest with yourself and process those feelings and manage your mind. Of course, we promote the use of A Course in Miracles as a mind training program, and we would highly recommend any of you that are having emotional, mental difficulties now, anxiety, depression, go online and begin the lessons. Our dear one has done lessons with our commentary, and they are available on YouTube, and we will get our dear one to put the link in the description box below. She also has created a community where an amazing archive of material is available to the members. And we would suggest that some of you who are now spending way less because you're not going out for coffees and dinners and beers and all of those things, you may want to consider joining that community. Why are we promoting that community? Because it is a focused community that is, its intention is to help with the ascension process, to help people process their feelings and challenges of mind training, because there are definitely challenges of mind training. It is a closed community in that sense, open to anybody, but if you feel that you need some spiritual support, it is a very, very good place to go right now. And that information too will be put in the description box below. Now, the madness of your society is being revealed. Some people are on the left side of the fence, saying that everybody should be voluntarily on lockdown to save the many. Others are on the right side of the fence, which is more about individual freedoms and maintaining your personal sovereignty. There is a middle path where you can maintain your personal sovereignty. You can, if you have to, follow the rules, because some rules are fraught with serious fines if you do not follow them. But there are many places where you are still allowed to go out for a walk, and we would encourage all of you that are in places that still have their freedoms intact, that you get outside in the sunlight, get outside in the wind, get outside in your gardens, get outside. And if you are in a place where you are allowed to talk to people with a 6-foot distance between you, call up a friend and meet them on the beach or meet them at the park, sit on other ends of the bench and have conversations. Isolation is separation, and the unstable are going to suffer from this separation. So you have two things at play here. You have the physical, material, 3D story of coronavirus and keeping your bodies alive. And you have the amazing opportunity in the non-physical realm of coming to understand your internal workings more, beginning a mind training program. And we would say the reason most people don't do a mind training program is they do not have the time. You do have the time now, and you will benefit from it. You will begin to feel more peace. You will begin to get clearer guidance, and you will begin to raise your frequency out of fear, out of the belief in sickness and death of the body, into 5D. That's where your planet's going. And if you want to join her, then now is the time to step up your spiritual practice and your mind training so that you are master of your mind and the television are not master of you. So back to the religious aspect of this weekend. We want you to understand that the resurrection is the demonstration that the body is of no value. In the crucifixion and the resurrection, there is a story being told. It is not one of the sacrifice of God's only Son. It is not one of redeeming sin before it's even been committed. It was one of me demonstrating that I did not value my body as myself. I knew that my consciousness was above that and separate from that. I had been practicing in deep meditation, leaving my physical body for several years at that point, and it was designed as a teaching tool for my students and disciples and acolytes. It was not designed to rule earth for the next 2,000 years. It simply was not. The resurrection was my demonstration that I was able to overcome the physical world and remanufacture a body from my trained mind. That is what I was doing. I was resurrecting a body as a demonstration of the fact that love can overcome death. And that is what we want you to focus on this Easter Sunday. Love can overcome death. Alignment with truth can overcome fear. And that is what we want you to do this Sunday. We want you, if you have not yet, we want you to start doing the lessons of A Course in Miracles. We want you to start training your mind so that you are not contributing to fear on this planet, that you are contributing through love. And if you have not trained your mind, you will only have at your disposal the mind that has been trained for you by commercial television, by all the shows you watched when you were a kid, all the movies you've watched. That is the program you're running. Do you want the world to look like the movies that you have been watching for the last 20 years or so? No, we don't think you do. So you need to take the sovereignty back of your mind. And the only way to do that is to dedicate yourself to training it, taking it back from the fear and the disease movies and the contagion movies and the catastrophe movies and the murderous movies and the war movies. That is what you're seeing on this planet right now. You're seeing the reflection of a frequency of what you've all been consuming. And if you do not like it, now is the time to choose again. Choose differently. Choose love. Choose to take back your mind. Choose to take back your sovereignty and let go of that which no longer serves you and which no longer serves your planet. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and I will speak to you again soon. All right. Well, happy Easter Sunday to everybody. If you look down in the description box below, you will see the link to find out more about the Channeling Jesus community that we have developed. I will put the link down to my first lesson of A Course in Miracles. So if you haven't done the Course in Miracles lessons yet, do consider it. It is a discipline, and you will need to have the book or follow online. If you go to the Foundation for Inner Peace, the lessons are there free, and the text is there free as well. The text is challenging, it requires discipline, but that is what we're seeking. We're seeking to take our minds back from the chaotic and contradictory and violent beliefs that we have been raised with. And at this time, there is no excuse. You have the time. Do consider it. It's what has allowed me to do this work. It has transformed my life, and it has affected millions and millions of people around the world, bringing them peace and improving their love lives, their relationships, their finances, everything. So do consider doing what Jesus has asked you to do today. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.